Hey everyone, welcome to another complete story video. This one is a collab I did a long time ago with my friend SaladSaiyan, where our hero Future Trunks goes back in time to race Goku, ensuring the safety of the future. This is one of my favorite Dragon Ball what ifs, just because of how crazy of a concept it is. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you never miss another video. The like goal for this video is 3,000. Can we hit it? But before we begin today's adventure, let's go on a different one, thanks to today's sponsor, Hero Wars, a pearl in an ocean of mobile games. This is an online RPG with both PvP and PvE elements. You can battle against powerful bosses, experience the story mode, and have fun in the campaign mode. It really gives you the feel of a classic fantasy game. As we complete missions, our champion gains upgrades and loot. The game has over 50 unique heroes, and each comes packing with their own unique abilities. It's exciting to experiment and assemble various warriors and take them through the arena or the endless tower. But the main attraction is taking your champions online, creating guilds, testing your skills against other players, and leveling up your rank. The guys over at Hero Wars have been gracious enough to give new players a super chest with a secret hero, 62 emeralds, and 30,000 gold. You can play Hero Wars on mobile devices and on your web browser. Scan this QR code or download the game from the link in the description. I'll see you in the game, heroes. Anyways, let's continue on this adventure. Take it away, Salad.
Trunks departs from his timeline, wanting to restore the peace and defeat the androids. He's confident. By going back in time, he could alter the course of history. But he does have to be careful though. And for all he knows, things could go wrong otherwise. Maybe the time machine doesn't take him back to the right place, maybe not the same time. There's so many variables and so much that can go wrong. But he remains hopeful. It's plastered on the side of the time machine after all. Hope, it's his motto. The hybrid Saiyan steps in the time machine and goes back to the past. Unfortunately, or maybe even fortunately, everything goes wrong. Malfunctioning during the travel, his time machine suddenly alters its course, going decades behind where it's supposed to be. Trunks is quickly able to act and stop it before it goes back too far, but it's already too late. He now ends up farther in the past. Thankfully, he has enough for a round trip, so he can just return to the future, although that means they're going to have to waste more time getting fuel again. But as he's about to depart, he notices something. A boy with spiky hair, out in the forest in which he teleported to, and he's running right towards Trunks in his time machine. Trunks immediately steps out, prepared to defend, but the boy speeds past him, instead attacking the time machine, seeing it as a threat. Trunks watches in horror as the boy destroys the machine, easily being able to dismantle it and then setting his sights on Trunks. Who is this kid? Why did he do that? Where are his parents? Joke's on Trunks, this kid has no parents. Trunks is easily able to fend off the kid, and in his anger he begins questioning him, but his heart slowly drops as he comes to the realization. This kid isn't just some random kid, it's Goku. How far back did he go? As this all sets in, and he realizes he might be stuck here, someone else shows up out of the blue. It's a car with the Capsule Corp logo plastered on the side, and thankfully for the car, it gets to survive this time. Goku doesn't beat it up. And immediately from the Capsule Corp logo, Trunks could tell that this would be trouble, as a younger version of his mom steps out of the car. She does look very different, but it's clearly her. I mean, she is wearing a shirt that says Bulma after all. Goku is still on guard though, thinking that two people are attacking him. But Bulma is able to calm him down and explain why she's here. She's looking for the Dragon Balls. Although, she notices Trunks there. He's pretty cute, and she even hits on him a bit. Oh god, what did Trunks get himself into? He awkwardly keeps his distance from her, trying to turn the conversation into another direction. He mentions that she's looking for the Dragon Balls. He can help her. Anything to get her to stop flirting with him. Trunks feels like he's really screwing up the timeline, but whatever. He's already done enough, and his machine is busted. He's stuck here. He could get Bulma to fix it, but then that would mean he has to reveal that he's a time traveler, as well as the other parts of his origins. He doesn't want to screw up his chances of being born, so he keeps this to himself. His only course of action right now is to try and rectify this timeline, in whatever way he can. Well, Bulma accepts the help, and Goku heads along with them, thinking this could be a fun adventure. The thing is though, with Trunks here, getting the Dragon Balls isn't that hard at all. It's actually really easy. He's able to fend off any threats, fly them around, etc. Within not much time at all, Trunks is able to help them get most of the Dragon Balls. There's no threats whatsoever, but they do have an interesting encounter when looking for the last two Dragon Balls. They end up meeting Roshi, and through Bulma's convincing, they're able to get a Dragon Ball from him. And they only have one left now, which apparently is in the direction of a place called Fire Mountain. That rings a bell for Roshi. He mentions that his old student lives there, and maybe if they help him put out the fire there, he'll give them the Dragon Ball. Sounds simple enough, especially with Trunks. So they head to Fire Mountain, and with his sheer power alone, Trunks is able to create an air blast powerful enough to put out the fire, leaving the mountain intact as well. That that wasn't so bad, and now they have the final Dragon Ball. Also, it makes Trunks a little hopeful because they met Chi-Chi there. Thank Kami he ended up here, because if they didn't meet the people at Fire Mountain, maybe Gohan won't be born. But unknowingly, he's already messed a lot of stuff up in this timeline. At least Goku knows Bulma and Chi-Chi though. But there's still one thing that Trunks needs to do. He needs to get Goku to train with Roshi somehow. Maybe Roshi can set him in the right direction. And he recommends that Goku sees the old man again. But Goku decides he doesn't want to. He wants to train with Trunks instead. He's seen how strong Trunks is, and he's pretty stubborn about it too. He'll stick by Trunks until Trunks decides to train him. Trunks doesn't even know what to do here, but he then gets interrupted as Bulma summons Shenron. And as Trunks has felt many times so far in this scenario, he feels his stomach drop once more, because he remembers what Bulma's wish was. Originally, she wanted strawberries, but after meeting Trunks, her priorities changed, and she realizes maybe it would be a cool idea if she wishes for a good boyfriend. Trunks is terrified. This could screw everything up. What is he supposed to do? Butt in and take the wish? Telling Bulma he'll date her instead? He can't think fast enough. And Bulma makes her wish. Shenron grants it, although he struggles bringing the boyfriend over. Nervously and with anticipation, Trunks watches. Seemingly coming out of space, a giant beam of light falls from the sky. Although it's a really odd situation, Trunks feels relief wash over him. The light dissipates and it's revealed who's there. A boy with a tail and spiky hair. Not too dissimilar to Goku. This has to be him. There's no way it isn't. Shenron brought Vegeta to Earth. Everyone's confused, especially him. And he's immediately angered. He demands to know where he is before he decides to kill everyone. Everyone doesn't take it seriously and they just ask who he is. Introducing himself as Vegeta, the Prince of all Saiyans. Goku and Bulma are just as confused as Vegeta. And while Trunks is relieved, he feels like this still might screw up the timeline more since Vegeta's here so early on. And to make things even stranger, Vegeta's only 17 right now, and possibly, he might have not grown fully yet. Not only are Trunks and Vegeta the same age, but Trunks towers over him. Vegeta is so short it's actually hard for Trunks to not laugh. Sure, it's definitely possible that by this point, he could be full size, but knowing how Saiyans grow, there's also a good chance that he still looks like this. Bulma wonders why Shenron teleported a little boy here, but as it turns out, Vegeta's actually a bit older than Bulma, despite him being so tiny. He's had enough, and he decides to attack Goku and Bulma, but Trunks immediately steps in and stops him with zero effort. Trunks immediately grabs his scouter and shuts it off, because what he's about to explain is something that he doesn't want Frieza to hear. Trunks tells Vegeta about what just happened, telling him about the Dragon Balls and all. Vegeta is curious to hear about this, and curious about this Trunks guy's strength. Plus, it just so happens that right in front of him, there's another Saiyan. Vegeta can tell by the tail, Goku seems to be a low-class warrior. Wait a second. He remembers Raditz mentioned he had a brother somewhere. Is this the Kakarot? It 100% has to be. With all this info at once, Vegeta begrudgingly stays here on Earth. A Saiyan being here as well as the Dragon Balls entice him enough. Plus Trunks says he'll train him, trying to think of any way to entice Vegeta to stay. And through this, Goku ends up finding out that he's a Saiyan. Understandably, the group is pretty surprised, although Trunks pretends to act like he's shocked. This isn't really the biggest bombshell he's heard. As for Raditz and Nappa, Vegeta doesn't care too much, he'll just find them later. Trunks has kind of dug himself into a hole, and it's decided he'll have to stay back here, training Goku and Vegeta so they'll be strong enough when the androids show up. He's already screwed up the timeline enough, but he's still alive, so maybe, just maybe, things will be okay. Vegeta and Goku end up developing a relationship more like Goku and Krillin, as rivals and quote-unquote classmates. Trunks isn't really that good of a teacher, but we'll consider them classmates. Goku's way behind Vegeta in terms of power, but he does grow pretty rapidly. And, without witnessing Roshi do it, Goku never learns the Kamehameha. If anything, he'll be picking up techniques from Vegeta and Trunks. After about a year or so of training, they learn about the Red Ribbon Army, and that gets Trunks to remember, they can just deactivate the androids right now. Things are going pretty well for him. Goku and Vegeta are getting stronger, Vegeta's getting pretty friendly with Bulma, and Vegeta's full-sized. But now is a true test of their power, trying to destroy the Red Ribbon Army. And, with their training, as well as Trunks being there, even one of them would be overkill. Trunks is only there to make sure nothing is left, unsure of who actually made the androids, but Vegeta would probably end up destroying everything anyways. Every single member of the Red Ribbon Army dies, including Gero. And while Trunks still doesn't know where the androids are or who the person is that made them, the fact that the entire army is destroyed gives him hope. Maybe they're actually gone for good. But even with that, there's still other matters of business. Trunks really still needs to rectify this timeline. Bulma and Vegeta are somewhat together now, which is a relief for Trunks, but he can tell he's already altered a lot of events. But he's actually warming up to the idea of training these two. It's weird, at first he wanted to get out of here, but he's actually grown to like this training. So he decides he wants to step things up. and he reveals to the two of them that he's part Saiyan, although not revealing his origin or why he's so strong. He wants to get them to train to be as strong as possible, and he decides it's best to show off Super Saiyan right now. Needless to say, the two are amazed, especially Vegeta. So, the legend's true after all. Vegeta thinks this is awesome, and decides he's gonna contact Raditz and Nappa, saying he'll explain once they're here. On an encrypted channel, he messages them, telling them to get here under Frieza's radar. Trunks is a bit spooked by this, but after a few weeks, these two Saiyans show up, and Trunks doesn't know who they are. It turns out one of them is actually Goku's brother, Raditz, and Nappa is just Nappa. It's really strange for Raditz to see how un-Saiyan-like his brother is, but it's interesting to see how strong he is at this point too, as well as that Trunks guy. Wait a second, a new family member for Goku. It gets him thinking about Goku's family, and then it hits him. Oh crap, he needs to make sure Gohan is born in this timeline. But thankfully, he comes up with a scheme. He remembers before, Chi-Chi did kinda like Goku. At least it seems so when they met before. So, as a ploy, Trunks decides he's gonna recruit Chi-Chi to train her. And she ends up joining because she gets to be around Goku. This is perfect. It's a relief that she's now part of the crew and that Goku's with her, although both are still young at the moment. Trunks now has 5 people under his belt. 2 kids, Goku and Chi-Chi, 2 young adults, Vegeta and Raditz, and 1 Nappa. Fun fact, since Nappa's relatively younger, he may still have some of his hair, although it is starting to fall out. Poor guy. Things have kinda gotten out of hand really fast for Trunks, but he's sticking to his guns. He needs to at least make sure he and Gohan are born, so he's gonna stick around for the time being, not revealing his identity. And as you've probably noticed by now, none of them have been joining tournaments. Although, they do get wind of King Piccolo attacking tournament contestants. Bulma hears about it and tells the group. This guy seems like trouble and maybe they should stop him. Wait, Piccolo? Trunks remembers Gohan telling him stories about how Piccolo used to be a bad guy but turned good. So he definitely has to make sure that they don't kill Piccolo. The group is able to track down Piccolo and his minions. But something seems wrong. Was Piccolo actually this old before? Granted, Trunks has never seen him, but Gohan never mentioned this. Is there a chance that this isn't the same Piccolo that Gohan knew? Needless to say, the group's easily able to defeat him, before Trunks can even tell him to not kill him. But they're all disgusted to see King Piccolo launch an egg out of his mouth. That doesn't seem good. They're able to track down the egg and they see, it's a smaller Piccolo that came out of it. Oh, this must be the Piccolo that Gohan knew. The group's about to kill him, but Trunks has to stall them, with Piccolo confused as to why Trunks is protecting him, but Trunks freezes up as he hears a bellowing voice behind him, as Piccolo screams. He looks and sees a giant green light, with Piccolo being placed in some sort of container. Kami has intervened and sealed Piccolo Jr., and thanks everyone for their help. That's not what Trunks wanted. He can't just reveal why he's here and why he wants to release Piccolo, but I mean, at least Piccolo's not dead? And he guesses with Kami here they still have the Dragon Balls, but this still does not sit right with Trunks at all. He knows how vital Piccolo was to helping everyone, and this sticks in his mind. He kinda wants to free Piccolo somehow, but he doesn't know how to. One of the good things about this arc is that King Piccolo already collected a lot of Dragon Balls, and it's not too hard to find the rest. Once again they're able to summon Shenron, and Trunks asks to revive everyone killed by King Piccolo. That was a good experience for them. Although King Piccolo was heavily outmatched still, they haven't really seen many fights. They're getting so much stronger, and this is one of the few opportunities that they got to use more of their strength. And this gets Vegeta thinking, so they could possibly access Super Saiyan. The good thing is it actually exists, but the issue is figuring out how to use it. But Vegeta's very confident. Once they actually get this form, it may be enough to defeat Frieza. He ends up telling Goku and Trunks. He, Raditz, and Nappa have been trying to get stronger for a while, wanting to defeat Lord Frieza somehow. He tells them about the history of the Saiyan, and how much he hates Frieza, but also how powerful Frieza is. Once again, Trunks has to act shocked, as if he doesn't know this already. But some of this shock actually comes off as real to him. He hasn't heard much about Frieza. At least, not this in depth about it. He hears how passionate Vegeta is about it, how much he wants to defeat him, and about all the atrocities Frieza's committed. He's got to learn a lot about Vegeta from this experience. And although Vegeta's still somewhat of a cruel person, same with the other Saiyans still being somewhat anti-heroes, Trunks realizes this is what his mom was telling him about. He's a proud warrior. And even the Bulma in this timeline sees it too, as well as everyone else around Vegeta. He really wants to take down Frieza, and Trunks agrees. It'll be a perfect test of power for his students, and a goal for them to reach. Frieza's tyranny must be stopped.
A capsule plane cut through the wind, rushing to Mount Paozu. It noisily landed in front of the old home of the late Son Gohan. The home seemed different, however, updated with more technology. Spray painted on the side of the house was the word hope in big letters. The home was extended to have another room. Out of the plane, a young man, Vegeta, and a young woman, Bulma, stepped out. The two had been in a relationship for some time, showing Bulma that her wish to the dragon for the perfect boyfriend was not wasted after all. It was a few years since they last saw their master, who now resided inside the Sun house. When inside, they were met by a celebrating crew. In the middle were Nappa and Raditz, arm wrestling over a table, shaking everything around them. Behind them were Chi-Chi and Goku, cheering for Raditz. On Goku's shoulder sat a little kid, Gohan. That kid was the one to point out something holding Vegeta's hand. Everyone's head darted over to look, and their eyes widened in surprise. It was a little girl with blue hair. Nappa and Raditz laughed.
Don't tell me you finally got a kid, Vegeta! And with the human genius, no less. Her and Gohan can be friends.
Vegeta closed his eyes and slammed Nappa's and Raditz's head against one another. The little girl laughed. Vegeta introduced her as Bra, or Bola, and she was around 3 years old. Gohan and Bra started playing on their own. Vegeta asked where he was, and Goku opened up a curtain that led into the other room. Inside was a large yellow machine covered by a tarp, but you could see the capsule logo on it. A purple-haired man sat in the middle, meditating. He spoke as soon as they walked in. "You have a daughter, Vegeta." This was Trunks, the master of almost everyone in the house. None of them knew it, but he was a time traveler stuck in the past. He was surprised to hear about Vegeta's kid. This was another massive change to the timeline. Instead of having a boy, aka himself, they had a little girl. It was already weird enough that he was helping Goku raise Gohan, the person who would become his master.
Yes, her name is Bra. We were planning on naming her Trunks if she had been a boy.
Flattered. Trunks sighed. He had planned on staying in this timeline only until he was born, and then revealing the truth to everyone. He wanted to make sure he could keep things as similar to what they were supposed to be as possible. But this new change delayed his plan further. He kinda wished he would have been born earlier. He had managed to make sure that Gohan was born, but he needed to go the extra mile to make sure that he was born too. They were all gathered, since they hadn't seen each other in a long time. All the Saiyans were once powerful, terrible beings. But slowly, under Trunks' tutelage, and with the help of Goku's friendship, they were slowly turning a new leaf. No heroes by any means, but they had become renegades and anti-heroes, slowly seeing Earth as their new home. Vegeta had obviously been the one to change the most, even starting a family.
Trunks, I don't much care about this reunion, but I've been waiting far too long. You know what I'm referring to.
You're talking about Frieza.
Right. I want my revenge. With the training I've had from you, I should be more than enough, right? Especially with Raditz and Nappa. And me. We could finally dethrone him. I can't let this idiot be a Super Saiyan while I stand behind him. Maybe this is what I need to achieve it.
During these years, in between the first part and now, Goku had achieved Super Saiyan after harsh training, similar to the manga version of Trunks. Trunks had shown off Super Saiyan as a goal for them to achieve, but it seemed like the S-cells of the rest were not quite sufficient just yet, if you believe in that kind of stuff. Trunks looked quietly at his father. The fire in his eyes was something he admired. He hated him at first, but now he respected him, even if this was a parallel twisted version of himself. Trunks nodded. This would be a good challenge for them, and they would be able to free the universe from tyranny. They were ready. Trunks got up and invited them to continue the celebration. They would get started on the ship afterwards. Raditz and Nappa were informed of the challenge, and they were excited to defeat the Emperor. This is what they had been training for their whole lives. Bulma and Dr. Briefs helped with the creation of the ship, with a built-in gravity chamber. Capsule Corp used the Saiyans' old scouters to retrace the main signal and find the course to planet Frieza. Before they left, the Saiyans said goodbye to Chi-Chi and Bulma, and their kids as well. Through the travel, Trunks instructed them on how and what Super Saiyan was. He had done so before, but he knew that now more than ever, the power was close to their grasp. The Saiyans trained hard for days. Strangely, it was Raditz who, during a sparring match against Super Saiyan Goku, that had the biggest progress, sparking into Super Saiyan for just 1 second, while fighting against a mirror image of his father. He didn't care much for him, but the memory did spark something in him. Couldn't maintain it, however, and quickly reverted back. It was only a matter of time. Vegeta hated being outmatched by a couple of low-class Saiyans. He knew he wouldn't just go Super Saiyan, but surpass it. Eventually, the team landed in the outskirts of a base. Luckily too, as Frieza and his men were almost all in the capital, awaiting the next planet trade. Trunks explained to them that he would not intervene, but he doubted he would need to anyways. The four Saiyans put their hands together, ready to take on their challenge. In the castle, Frieza sat drinking wine, quietly, enjoying an alien playing a strange instrument. But the moment he played a wrong note, a death beam shot right through the instrument and into the man's heart. But as he laughed, the bodies of Zarbon and Dodoria blasted through the door, shaking the entire throne room. Frieza slapped Dodoria's body away as it nearly hit him.
Who dares? You know the answer, don't you, Frieza?
Prince Vegeta, where have you been all these years?
Becoming far stronger than you can possibly imagine.
Vegeta's aura erupted bright, and he pushed himself forward to slam his fist against Frieza. Frieza's scouter exploded as soon as Vegeta began to move. The Tyrant was able to block the attack, but Nappa appeared behind him and kicked Frieza away. He crashed through the castle wall. Vegeta angrily told Nappa that Frieza was his, and to take care of the Ginyu Force that was quickly approaching them. Not only was it the Ginyu Force, but a whole lot of soldiers. They were no match for the Saiyans, but it was going to take up their time. As Frieza landed on the ground, a soldier guarding the bottom of the city jumped back. Frieza yelled at him to call his father immediately. Without question, the soldier ran to the communications center. Frieza heard something, and he instinctively jumped away when a huge boom created a crater in the city. Vegeta had landed fist first and would have killed Frieza in his current state. Was this the legendary Super Saiyan power? Still, no way he could stand up against his final form, right?
Wait, Vegeta! You cocky fool! If it's a fight you want, it's a fight you'll get. But this isn't my full power, you see. This isn't my true form.
Then hurry up and show it to me. I better not be disappointed.
Frieza gulped and pushed his arms back. The glass from the surrounding buildings shattered, and Frieza entered into his final form, full power. He wasn't about to waste time against Vegeta.
It's over, Vegeta. I will not forgive this insolence. You and the other Saiyans will die. And what's more, I was the one that destroyed your planet.
I've known that for many years. I admit your power's impressive, but I've learned much in my time on Earth. You're through!
The explosive fight continued as the Saiyan and the Emperor punched each other across the city and into buildings. Vegeta was holding back for the sake of fun, though Frieza was unaware of this fact. Their powers were fairly matched at times. What Vegeta didn't expect was Frieza to attempt to destroy the whole world. He was able to catch the Death Ball, but it was hard to push it back. It only got worse when King Cold and his minions arrived. Cold saw the events transpire, and he blasted at Vegeta in the back, making him lose grip of the Death Ball and become consumed by it. Trunks was worried. He thought for sure Vegeta would be enough to take Frieza on. Would he have to intervene? Goku's eyes widened as it seemed Vegeta lost, and he rushed in to attack King Cold. Part of the Ginyu Force laid waste around him. Cold was caught off guard and took on the barrage of kicks and punches head on. Meanwhile, Nappa and Raditz finished off Captain Ginyu and Recoome. Frieza laughed in the background when he realized that the planet wasn't shaking. The Death Ball hadn't hit the core, or it was traveling very slow. Frieza hovered over the hole it had created to see what was going on, and the Death Ball shot right back up, nearly getting him. A faraway star exploded as the Death Ball hit it.
What the hell?
A golden aura shone through the hole created by the Death Ball. Goku looked back with a huge smile. Out of the hole, the golden hair of Vegeta rose, and the planet shook in fear. Goku and Vegeta yelled out at the same time, electricity sparking up around them. The two great Super Saiyans watched as their respected adversaries backed away. From here on, the fight was nothing but a game. Trunks cheered while watching the fight. He was very proud. Frieza was punched up and up and up until he was close enough to touch a ship hovering over the planet. But as he was about to hit the ship, Vegeta grabbed his leg and threw him back down. He moved his hand over his forehead and screamed out,
Shining Masenko! Ha!
The golden blast followed Frieza down and killed him on impact. At the same time, Goku finished off King Cold with a punch so strong it caused a sonic boom. It was over. They did it. They avenged the Saiyans. But more importantly, proved themselves as worthy martial artists. Trunks congratulated them, especially Vegeta. He smirked and simply walked into the spaceship. This experience made Trunks realize that the power they held was immeasurable. Could there be a level above Super Saiyan? Impossible, right? Trunks would let his mind wander with this question for a while. once they got to Earth and reunited with their families, Trunks decided that he wanted to talk to Kami. He found his key signature and traveled up to the lookout. He demanded Piccolo be freed. Kami wondered why, but Trunks promised that he could be changed for the better. After all, he had been trapped in the Mafuba when he was just a child. They could raise him into a good person. Plus, they were all strong enough to take him on. Kami realized that capturing a kid like that was an awful thing to do, and cautiously allowed Trunks to free and take the kid. Out of the Mafuba came out a simple child, though in the following months he would grow into a full-grown Namekian. And so, Piccolo was more or less adopted by Trunks. He became a very powerful martial artist, and within 3 years, he was a worthy rival. He wanted and tried to kill the Saiyans when growing up, but his power was nothing. Trunks humored him by telling him that he would train him so that someday he could kill him. Piccolo accepted, cocky about his soon-to-be victory. But over time, and by being friends with Gohan and Bra, he became a great friend and a powerful warrior. But Gohan and Bra weren't pushovers either. They were just about 9 and 8 years old respectively. Trunks kept on waiting and waiting for himself to be born, getting to the point where time came and went when he was actually supposed to arrive on this timeline. Regardless, Trunks made sure to give Bulma the heart medicine for mass manufacturing, and Goku took it much more ahead of time. With the Red Ribbon Army being destroyed, no androids attacked, but something sinister did lurk in the shadows. 3 years after the defeat of Frieza, Bulma had another child with Vegeta. This time, it's a boy named Trunks, though he had a different hair color than himself. Trunks sees this as time for him to head to his future. He gathered all of his friends together one last time, and they watched the news as he got ready to tell them the truth. I have something to confess to all of you. I will be leaving soon, and I doubt I will be back. It's gonna be hard to believe, but I'm from the future. A future torn up by 2 androids. I came here to get help and change the outcome, but my time machine was damaged. I messed up the timeline a lot here, and I decided to fix what I could. I became very attached to all of you, so I wanted to wait until that little guy was born, because I am him.
What? But he's my son. Sure, we named him after you, but...
I am from the future, and yes, you are my father. I was born under very different circumstances than he was. My father was never even a Super Saiyan, but your blood runs through my veins, Vegeta. Vegeta walked out of the house, and Bulma was speechless. Everyone was quiet. Trunks was about to walk out to find Vegeta, but a scream coming from the TV stopped him. Something had attacked Ginger Town and various other cities through the world. People were disappearing. This was only a few days after the androids had attacked in the original timeline. It couldn't be, could it? The androids were stopped in this reality, right? Trunks looked at everyone and nodded. The Z-Fighters rushed out to try and look for the key that felt dangerous. They finally spotted it, and it felt too familiar to everyone, yet different. They stopped a monster from devouring a man and asked who the hell he was.
I am Cell. I am you and Piccolo and Tien and Krillin. Who? Krillin, your best friend?
Best friend? Well, that's Vegeta here.
Get off of me!
Cell glanced over at Trunks. I see. You're from a different timeline too, huh?
And you changed things here.
Yeah, let's get this over with. Cell was extremely powerful and slippery, and Trunks deducted that he had cells from all the Z-Fighters from a different reality. However, Trunks had made sure that everyone in this timeline was stronger than those in the original. Thus, Cell stood no chance. Additionally, he went crazy when he found out that there were no androids in this timeline whatsoever. He wanted to kill Trunks right then and there. Trunks could defeat Cell easily, but he wanted to leave the Z-Fighters with one final goal to achieve before heading to his future. Nappa gasped when Trunks stopped the fight and warned Cell that he would be over and done with in 10 seconds. Cell called his bluff, but Trunks had something under his sleeve. Goku, Raditz, Vegeta, and Nappa all had obtained Super Saiyan either through training or in men's strain. But Trunks had been training in secret, in the hyperbolic time chamber. He knew that there was something beyond. The Saiyan lifted his arms up, then pulled them back. A shockwave shot through his entire body and into the ground, paralyzing Cell. The shockwave displayed itself as electricity that further pushed Trunks' hair up. Cell was terrified, and Vegeta's eyes widened. This new power was something beyond that of Super Saiyan. And just as he had warned Cell, Trunks finished him with one final blast. Trunks sighed and went back to his base form. Everyone looked at him quietly, as they knew what would come next. The next day, everyone reunited once more to say goodbye. Nappa slapped his bald head in realization of what this strange machine in Trunks' house was all along. Trunks was finally done fixing it and was ready to go home. Trunks looked down at Gohan, who was hugging the time traveler's leg. The two spent a lot of time together. And though Chi-Chi didn't approve greatly of it, she was much more open to the idea of Gohan training, as she herself trained under Trunks. Trunks kneeled to smile at the kid, recalling the smile of his old master. "This one's for you, Gohan." Gohan hugged him tightly, and Bra jumped in too. Trunks even pulled in Piccolo for the hug, but Goku had something else to say.
We want to go with you, at least until your mission's done. Then we can come back. We want to help however we can.
What? Oh, come on now, that's not your place.
And it wasn't your place to come back here and mess with the timeline. Let Kakarot and I go with you.
So it's settled.
Goku and Vegeta jumped inside the machine, and without further argument, it time traveled back to Trunks' future. For Bulma, it was only a few hours since Trunks left, so she was surprised to see her son almost as old as her. This was an extreme shock, but Bulma hugged him tightly. She asked if the mission was a success, and Trunks smiled at her when Goku jumped in from behind Trunks. Bulma hugged Goku tightly, tears streaming from her face. Goku hugged her back, but Bulma had a near heart attack when she saw Vegeta walk in. She slapped him, but then jumped in to hug him tight. Vegeta awkwardly hugged her back. Trunks explained everything, and Bulma yelled at him for messing up the timeline so much, but she was glad to have them there. Trunks got up and told Bulma that he would be right back. Vegeta and Goku followed suit, looking for the androids. Once he found them, it was over. Trunks told Vegeta and Goku to stay out of it, which they did, and with a few simple sword slashes from Super Saiyan 2 Trunks, the androids were done for. Vegeta laughed, wondering how they caused him so much trouble. Trunks put away his sword and looked up to the sky. Gohan would be proud. The time machine needed refueling for a round trip in order to have Goku and Vegeta return to their timeline. Trunks wasn't sure if he was ready to say goodbye. In the time they spent together while refueling the time machine, they trained hard and long and helped the cities rebuild. Bulma was so happy to have them all eat together, only wishing Gohan could have been there. Goku promised himself to keep training his son so he can live up to this future Gohan. When it was time to return, Trunks realized something. The familiar sinister key of the past lurking about. However, as he was about to confront the hideous Cell, Vegeta and Goku jumped in front.
We promised we'd help.
This is me clearing my debt and saying thanks.
Trunks watched in awe, recalling with a smile the kids and teenagers he trained in the past. He was so happy to see them remember the basics, utilizing his techniques and more. He had lived one of the strangest lives ever, but he wouldn't have it any other way. He felt as if Gohan had passed on his way of teaching upon him, and that this was his destiny.
Finish Buster! Burning attack!
Cell was gone from this timeline too. Earth could now really be rebuilt without any worry. Trunks thanked them, but now it was time to leave. Vegeta and Goku awaited in the time machine for Trunks, who packed something for the others. He was very sad. He spent the majority of his life with this new set of friends. Now he was going to spend so much less time with them. But this is what he was fighting for all along, right? Bulma watched Trunks from the kitchen, and she knew what he was thinking. Bulma approached her son quietly.
Trunks, are you really ready to come back?
Of course, Mom. I spent too much time fighting for this, right?
And you did it! You saved our world. Now you have a full life ahead.
What are you saying, Mom?
You told me about everything else. Raditz and Nappa becoming your students? Me having a daughter? You helping raise a young Gohan? It's all very strange, but it's something you built for yourself. Leave this to me. I'll help to continue the rebuilding.
No, I can't let you handle this alone.
Trunks, they are your family. The whole world put way too much on you and Gohan's shoulders. We can help ourselves now. Why don't you pay back Gohan by guiding this younger one?
Mom.
I'll join you in the future, after we're done rebuilding here, okay?
Mother and son hugged tightly. Trunks didn't want to leave her, but she was right. This was something he built for himself. He was so thankful, and couldn't wait for the next time he could see her. Trunks smiled, wiping tears from his eyes, as he put a bag over his shoulder and waved goodbye. He jumped inside the time machine along with his two students, his two friends. They asked what happened, and Trunks simply said that plans changed. He'd spent a little more time with them after all. Goku cheered loudly while the time machine burst through space and time. Trunks was ready to live a peaceful life with his friends, though he was sure his plans would end differently than he expected. They always did. Thanks for watching, guys, and thanks SaladSaiyan for another awesome collab. It's always so much fun to make videos with them. We have more stuff coming up together, and you guys always seem to enjoy it. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and click the bell icon so you get notified when I upload new videos. Shout out to these guys who answered the Dragon Ball question of the week last week. The Dragon Ball question of the week this week is, what would you do if you had a chance to go back in time to the very start of Dragon Ball? Leave your answers in the comments down below with hashtag DBQ and start a discussion. Anyways, until we meet again. See ya!
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to SmugStick, unless you want to be destroyed.
Lord Beerus, that's hardly fair. But also, don't forget to click the bell icon to get notified when he uploads new videos.